Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be in Hastings, Minnesota doing some architectural photography. Not something I do a lot of, but this is part of a program I'm running for the Minnesota Valley Photography Club called the Photographer's Playground. So different members of the club suggest different types of outings for us to go and try out. Sometimes these are things that are new to everybody. Sometimes we have some folks in the club that know something about it. Generally, though, it tends to be something related to some of the things that I teach in some of my classes and that. So most of the time I give a little bit of a tutorial and then we go out and do it. Tonight, with it being architectural photography, this is something that I don't do a lot of. I've done a little bit of it, but not much. But we're really lucky here in Minnesota. We have a lot of these small historic cities along the St. Croix and Mississippi rivers. And some of the architecture, some of the old buildings are just really, really interesting and have a lot of character. So we'll be walking around town and trying to get shots of both some of the buildings as a whole, but also some of the details. And I think some of that stuff could be really interesting. We've had some interesting weather just prior to this. We had some rainstorms come through, and so there's some good puddles, so maybe we'll get some reflections too. There may be a few more coming through. It is supposed to clear up within the next 10-15 minutes. Right now we've got some just amazing light hitting the downtown area and hitting the bridges and that going over the river. So could be some really, really nice photos coming out of tonight. Depending upon what we get, you'll see that in the slideshow later on in this in the video. The downtown area where all the historic buildings are is East 2nd Street. And as we were making our way along the street, taking photos of some of the storefronts and some of the buildings, some of the other details around. One of the things that happened was a lot of the people that worked in the shops and that came out and started talking to us. And one of them told us that there was a storm coming. Pretty nasty thunderstorm cell was going to be hitting the area in about 20 minutes. We're starting to get some really kind of interesting, eerie sort of light that was hitting the buildings. And I really wanted to get a shot shooting down the street. So at the risk of getting hit by a car, went out in the middle of the road and got this shot. At this point, I was shooting handheld. That was giving me a lot of flexibility to be able to very quickly get angles in that. There were a number of people walking around, so just wanted to make sure I could get in, get my shots, and get out really quick. We were going to be shooting after sunset, so we did have tripods with us, and those were going to come out later. But I really did like this shot. The light was really kind of eerie, hitting the front of the buildings just before the storm hit. So when the storm hit, it really hit hard. So we scrambled, got into a couple open overhangs from some buildings that were, or offices that were closed for the evening. That allowed us to stay out of the rain with all of our gear. And it only lasted maybe 10 minutes. So it was a pretty quick but very heavy storm, which was really nice in the fact that the streets now were really nice and wet. And as a bonus, the street lights came on. We went back, grabbed our tripods, got set up, and I was able to capture this image with really nice reflections in the street from the light reflecting off of the wet road. Being stopped down to f/22 gave me that nice starburst look, and being on a tripod allowed me to have a nice 10-second exposure. So I had a pretty successful evening out shooting. I had a lot of really nice detail shots along with some of the shots of the buildings themselves. I did find myself at times maybe leaning too much back on detail. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm not an architecture photographer. That's not something I normally do, so I did find myself sometimes drifting back. But nevertheless, I did come away with about a dozen or so images that I really liked. not bad for a 2-hour period of walking around. So this slideshow shows my favorites. Well, as always, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to be notified with the new videos when those come out, please hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to know, hit that little bell and then you'll get a notification. I believe it shows up in your email. Thanks. Bye.